Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Nintendo, and we have a special guest today. We have Mr. Retro himself, ECU Professor. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you coming on, and we got a topic today. We want to talk about, or go through a list of categories of our favorite Nintendo games from each franchise. And I got a little list. I mixed it up a little bit. So I will start with Mario 2D games. From that, any Mario 2D game, which one's your favorite?
I'd say my favorite is probably Super Mario Brothers 3 on the NES. Yeah, that one. There's a lot of good 2D Mario games, and it's tough to choose between them, but that one is one that I just have a lot of fond memories of, and I love the variety of the gameplay with the different suits and power-ups that you get. It was the first to let Mario fly, and back in the day, that was just kind of mind-boggling, because we played a lot of the original Super Mario Brothers, and then Super Mario Brothers 2, which was obviously a big change of pace.
Yeah, that was a little different.
Yeah, then you get to Super Mario Brothers 3, and the hype was insane for that game. Have you ever heard of the movie The Wizard?
Oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah, so it was basically a movie that came out that the story was about this boy that was kind of a video game prodigy, and he travels across the country to a video game competition, and then he gets there, and they are having them play a new game that has never been seen before, and it was basically the world premiere of Super Mario Brothers 3 in movie theaters nationwide, and we were just going nuts for it, and I got it for my birthday when I was, I think, about 10 years old. And I just played the heck out of it, and it's, even though I've really liked a lot of other 2D Mario games, especially Super Mario World, that one really just stands out as probably my favorite 2D Mario of all time. How about you?
You speak of Super Mario World. I have to go with that one. I would say Mario Bros. 3 does have probably the best power-ups, but Super Mario World really got me by adding Yoshi. I don't know what it was. It's just like something about a little like sidekick you have by your side. Just I don't know. It got me. I like that. And I thought the Star World area was just, I don't know. When I was a kid and I was playing that, and I thought I knew everything about Super Mario World, and then I found the Star World as a kid. I was like, wow. There's more.
Yeah, especially when you get all the way through the Star World to the special worlds.
And see, as a kid, I don't think I've ever did that. I don't think I've all the way got through. So there's
yeah. Some of those are really challenging, but it's cool when you discover that there isn't just this Star World. There's this special Star World beyond that. It's just it was a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, as my kid, me as a kid, it really blew me away when I was just like, there's so much more that I even know. Like, you beat a level a different way, it opens a different path that you can go down. It blew me away when I was little. It just, my goodness, I love that so much. And then the soundtrack, my goodness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another really cool thing about the Super Mario World soundtrack is how it adds the drums into the mix when you're riding Yoshi.
Yeah. I just like Yoshi a lot. Yoshi does something. I wish there was another Yoshi Island real good that comes back, but
yeah, I know there was a sequel on the DS to Yoshi's Island where Yoshi would turn into a helicopter and stuff. I never played through that one though.
I did play the one on the DS. That was a pretty solid game. The one on the 3DS kind of went. It was good, but it was it was walk through easy. Like, you could just walk through it. It's pretty easy, and that was kind of a downer for me.
I gotcha. Yeah, I've got the only other Yoshi platformer I have is Yoshi's Woolly World on the Wii U, and I didn't play a whole lot of that one. One of my kids was pretty interested in it's one of those games that even pretty young kids can play.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool seeing her and get into that.
Yeah, Yoshi's a great platformer, but another platformer that's on our list, Donkey Kong. What's your favorite Donkey Kong game?
So, I'm actually going to have to go with the original arcade Donkey Kong. Now, before a couple of years ago, hands down, I would have said Donkey Kong Country, the first Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another one that just kind of blew everybody away back in the day, and it's still a beautiful game and fun to play today. And I love that. I love Donkey Kong Country, but a couple of years ago, Nintendo released the Arcade Archives release of the original arcade Donkey Kong on the Switch, and I had played some of the ports of that before, like the NES port, and I had read online that there were some issues with that in terms of it not being authentic to the original. And one of my favorite movies is, I don't know if you've ever seen this one, it's called The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters.
Oh, I haven't. Is that another arcade kind of movie?
Yeah, so it's basically about the battle for the world record on the Donkey Kong high score. And it was made back in the mid-2000s, I want to say. So it's this battle between Steve Wiebe and Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell's the more famous of the two. He's kind of infamous. It's a great movie, and it made me really want to get good at the original arcade Donkey Kong. And so when Nintendo released that on the Switch and incorporated online leaderboards, I was like, well, here we go. I can play the original. It's pretty authentic. I can compete for high scores. And man, I sunk about 30 or 40 hours into the arcade version of Donkey Kong. And
wow.
The thing about playing those old arcade games is they're very, very challenging. And so when you get a new high score, you really feel like you achieved something. And so I just practiced, and you have to kind of learn tricks, and it's a lot of pattern learning too.
Yeah. I'm sorry, where on the leaderboard did you get?
At one point I think I was in the top. I broke the top 100 worldwide. That's about as high as I was able to get. I can't remember exactly what my highest high score was. I want to say I know it was over 100,000. When I broke 100,000 on Donkey Kong, I felt like that was a pretty notable achievement.
No, that is, yeah.
Yeah, but so that's even though I really like a lot of the other the later Donkey Kong platformers, the Donkey Kong original arcade version holds a special place in my heart.
It is a solid one. With the choice I went with something a lot newer. I went with Tropical Freeze because as much as we was saying we like the old Donkey Kongs, and the original Donkey Kong Crunchies were great, and they still are like very beautiful looking games. Something about Tropical Freeze, my goodness. I like the new characters they involved into it. Soundtrack again was great, and the silhouette levels. I know that was in, I think, the Wii one as well. But
yeah, Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Yes, I think it was in that one too. But this one, I don't know if it was just because this one came out at the right moment and it really stuck out to me when it came out. But because it came out on the Wii U and there was really not a whole lot else to play, and it just kind of stuck. But if I think Donkey Kong, that's the first one that comes to mind, and like great memories of it. And even when it came to Switch, my goodness. It's difficult, it's enjoyable, and it's got great levels, I think. Really good.
Yeah, I've played a little bit of Tropical Freeze. I probably got about halfway through it on the Wii U, but I never did end up finishing it. But yeah, I know what you're talking about with the new characters. Like, one thing that I especially liked was with Cranky Kong being able to bounce on his cane. That was kind of a callback to the DuckTales game on original NES with the pogo jump that Scrooge McDuck could do. That was one that I played the heck out of when I was a kid.
Yeah, I can't say I played that DuckTales. I have played, I think it was a remaster that came to the Wii U. I played it. That was the first time I ever played it, and I thought that was a great game.
Yeah, I got that. I downloaded that on the Wii U. I kind of want a physical copy just because I like to collect physical copies of games. That was another one of those that I downloaded and played a little bit, but I didn't make a whole lot of progress on it. That's something I need to work on, is actually playing through more games.
I feel that. I do the exact same. The new and shiny, something comes out, I want to play it, and I forget about the old one, and I still haven't gone back to many of games. But on the next on the list, we do have a great series. Actually, it's probably one of my favorites. It's Mario Kart. Do you have a favorite Mario Kart?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because I have a lot of fond memories of a lot of different Mario Kart games. But if I had to choose, I'd actually say that Mario Kart 64 is my favorite. And the reason for that is that I still to this day feel like the battle mode in Mario Kart 64 is the best battle mode. And although I like the racing, and I would if I were judging based solely on the racing, I would probably go with Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because that's the most recent entry is a really great game.
Yeah,
but I always had the most fun with Mario Kart when I was playing battle mode with other people, and I just feel like the later entries have made the battle modes a little bit more complicated. The arenas, I feel like, especially if you're just playing one-on-one, they're a little bit too big. It makes it harder to find the other player. Mario Kart 64, I played that so much in college, and there were only 4 levels, like 4 arenas to choose from, but for the battle mode. But
wow.
I mean, that just made you learn the arenas that much better, and you could learn like places to hide and develop different strategies. And if you were playing with another person a lot, it was a great game to play. So that's still probably my all-time favorite, just based solely on the battle mode.
Yeah.
How about you?
This was probably on my list the toughest decision to make, because me and my friends have played a ton of Mario 64. Double Dash, we played. Well, that was probably the one we played the least. But it came down to me between Mario Kart Wii and Mario Kart 8, because those, oh my goodness, we played hours and hours. Just, it's one of the games where you get your friends, you order pizza, you're done for the night. That's it, and you just have a great time. But I did end up choosing Mario Kart 8, just because when it added the characters, especially with the DLC and everything, it added those new characters. It gave us that Zelda stage. I think I just never expected that to come ever, and when we got it, it blew my mind. Got Animal Crossing in there. That made the game really special to me, because
I agree. Mario Kart 8 is a fantastic entry in the franchise, and I really do love a lot of the DLC stages too. Like you said, the Animal Crossing and the Zelda levels, the Excite Bike arena.
Oh yeah,
was really cool too. How it's randomly generated every time, so it kind of keeps it fresh. And it's just this big loop, sort of like Baby Park. So there's more opportunity. It's kind of easier to hit your opponent because there's just a lot of straightaways with a couple of curves.
Yeah, Mario Kart 8 is something special, and that's, I think, part of why the reason it's still selling so well. It's phenomenal. But I feel like if you choose any Mario Kart is a great game. They're all really special.
Yeah, I agree. I've been playing since the very first one came out on the Super NES, and one other one that stands out to me as a really great game that I feel is kind of overlooked in retrospect is Mario Kart DS, because that was the first 3D portable Mario Kart, and the controls on that were just so tight. Like the power sliding and everything just felt so good. it's still one of my favorites. Probably in my, I'd have to say if I did a top 3 Mario Karts, it would probably be 64, 8, and DS. Although the original one I have a fondness for as well, but yeah, that DS version is definitely a lot of fun to play.
Wow, that's actually the only, I think, Mario Kart I haven't played is the DS one. I played 7 on the 3DS, and I didn't play the Super Nintendo one until the Super Nintendo Classic came out. But that one was a pretty good time as well. But I'm gonna check out that DS one then. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, they actually Nintendo actually released it as a downloadable title on the Wii U. So if you still have your Wii U, you could play it on the big screen. But it's obviously designed for the handheld. So either way, it's a fun game.
Either way, that's a win-win. I feel, like I said, any Mario Kart, I feel Mario Kart has not been wrong in any of them. They're all like fantastic. But other games that are also fantastic, and I feel like there's not really a bad one, Zelda 3D games. What's your favorite Zelda 3D?
So, yeah, that's another one that's kind of a tough decision because, like you said, there have been a lot of really good ones. But even though it's a tough decision, I feel pretty confident in going with Breath of the Wild because I have a lot of fond memories of Ocarina of Time when that came out back in the day. That was actually my first time I skipped a class in college. As Ocarina of Time came out, I think it was the day before Thanksgiving break, like the Tuesday before Thanksgiving break. And I was always a pretty diligent student, and so I would never really skip class. But it was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving break, and I had pre-ordered Ocarina of Time, and I was just super eager to go and pick it up. So I skipped my Spanish class, and I went and got that, and a buddy of mine came over, and we played it together, and we literally played all night. Like, that's one of the few times I can remember being so excited about a game that I just couldn't sleep. I just kept playing, and so yeah, Ocarina of Time was great, but yeah, Breath of the Wild, I sunk so many hours into that. And I played through it multiple times too. To me, that's one of the marks of one of my favorite games of all time, is when I play through it all the way and I just enjoy the experience so much that I want to go back and just start a new game and play through it again, just because it's that much fun to play. And even though I've played through other 3D Zelda games, Breath of the Wild, it just blew me away in terms of like the options and what you could do, and like how much there was to explore. It's just an amazing game.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. Oh my goodness, that is really like one of the greatest games of all time. It is fantastic. But Ocarina is also up there with it. They're both very special.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the Breath of the Wild sequel because that game engine is just so well designed that even if they just take the same engine and have you doing new things, I'll be very excited. That's one of the rare times I even played through all of the downloadable content, like the extra added quests and everything.
Oh yeah.
Just because I enjoyed it that much. But how about you? What was your pick for the best Zelda 3D game?
Like you said, this was also a very tough decision. Mine came down to Breath of the Wild as one of them because, my goodness, I remember day one we got the Switch. I brought the Switch home, and I had to work the next day, but I stayed up incredibly late playing it. I didn't call out of work, should have, but I just got there very late. But it was just a good game to get. But my overall choice I'm going with is Wind Waker. Oh, Wind Waker, I think just the music in the game is fantastic. Sadly enough, I didn't get to play it on GameCube. Growing up, I only had 3 games for GameCube. I had the Zelda Collection, which had a demo with Wind Waker that I played over and over. And then I had Mario Party and Pikmin, but that Zelda Wind Waker demo I played a lot. And I didn't get to play it finish it until it came to Wii U. And that's when I was like, this is such a great game. It was just very beautiful. I know when it first came out, a lot of people didn't like the graphics of it too well, but I think that is a gorgeous art style. Actually, my favorite art style of all of them. Beautiful. The sound is amazing. I thought it has kind of had a Link to the Past type thing. We has like the two worlds. You kind of go to the dark and the light world, and very much enjoyed it. Have you played Wind Waker?
Yeah, I played through it back when it was first on the GameCube. I got it around the time when it released. Actually, I think it was my wife got that for me as a birthday present, and I did enjoy it a lot. And I've played. I got the HD remaster on the Wii U, and that's another one of those times when I started playing it and then got sidetracked by other things. But I would like to go through and make it all the way through the game again in the Wii U version. But yeah, I agree with you regarding the art style. It even though it was controversial when it first came out, because a lot of people wanted something that looked more what they call mature, that we ended up getting with Twilight Princess. That cell shaded art style was really nice, and it's held up really well, and was actually, I believe, the kind of the inspiration for the art style of Breath of the Wild. That also uses kind of a cell shaded technique, even though it's more advanced, so it looks a bit more realistic.
Yeah,
but it's the same sort of approach.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild is also a very gorgeous game. I feel both of those games going years into the future, both of those will still be considered fantastic looking games. It's just the way the art style is. They would just it never gets old with those two. But next on the list, speaking of GameCube games, is Pikmin. Have you ever played Pikmin, and what's your favorite?
So Pikmin is one of those franchises that I have never really gotten into. I've got the first one on GameCube, and I got the third one. I can't remember exactly how I got that. It was one of those bonus like free downloads for the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
It was some kind of deal Nintendo had where you could pick one of a number of games to get for free, and so I went with Pikmin 3, and I haven't played a lot of them. Like even though I've got 1 and 3, I've played them a little bit, but only for maybe a couple hours each, just to start to get into it. But I've never played it to the point that I would really be able to pick a favorite one. Just enough to kind of be familiar with the mechanics and what it's all about.
Yeah, Pikmin is well, there's only 3 of them, unless you count the 3DS one, which is that one's okay. But any of the 3, they're just fantastic games. But I did have to choose the third one, just because when it came out on Wii U, I've been a big fan of Pikmin since the first one. But when the one on Wii U came out, me and my friend went to go pick it up. When we got back to my house, we was playing it, and he didn't know why I chose it. He was like, "Why'd you pick this up?" He didn't think it was gonna be a great game. Then we started playing that multiplayer because it has like a unique, kind of like a tic-tac-toe kind of battle system it's got going on. We could battle each other, and it was fantastic. We spent hours playing that, and then he got into it. And next thing I know, he's wanting to borrow it. He's beating the game. I'm beating the game. And we just had a blast, me and him, playing Pikmin 3. And it's also that's a gorgeous game on the Wii U. That really showed how beautiful a game could look on the Wii U as well.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of anticipation for the next entry in the franchise. A lot of people are hoping that whenever the next Nintendo Direct drops, that they'll say something about Pikmin 4 being at least in development.
I really hope so. I would love to hear about Pikmin 4, even if they want to give us Pikmin 3, the trilogy again on Switch. My goodness, I'll take anything right now. I'm really have the itch to play a Pikmin game, and I'm really hoping they bring one to Switch. But other than Pikmin, the next one is Smash Brothers. Out of all the Smash Brothers, again, these are all fantastic games as well. But out of all of these, which one's your favorite?
So for that, like you said, they're all pretty great. So it's a tough call to make. I've played a fair amount of the Switch version, and I almost picked that one, but the one that I probably enjoyed the most, and if you're picking your favorite, you got to go with the one you enjoyed the most.
That's true.
Is actually the Wii U version. And now the Wii U version didn't have as many characters. I feel like Smash Brothers Ultimate on the Switch is more fleshed out and has very similar mechanics to the Wii U version, but a lot of times nowadays when I'm playing, I don't have another person to play with, so I really tend to focus on a lot of the single player modes. And one mode, or a couple of the modes that I always liked from the earlier entries in the franchise were the home run contest and the break the targets. And I just remember having a lot of fun with that on the Wii U version, especially the home run contest. And I was as great as the Switch version was and is. I really missed that. I remember hearing, did they add that into the Switch version with some later additions?
Yeah, I want to say it was update 5.0. They added home run contest, so that was in there. But I don't think break the targets is in there.
I need to go back to that then, because I love the home run contest. I vaguely remember hearing something about that, but I haven't. I played through the Smash Brothers on the Switch a lot when it first came out, and I did some of the. I've installed some of the updates and gotten some additional characters. Like I got the Piranha Plant when it came out. I want to get the Banjo-Kazooie DLC.
Oh yeah, that he's got a great stage and he plays really well. They put a lot of love when they made Banjo. All the DLC characters, but Banjo, there's a lot of love into that character and everything they added.
So given that they added home run contest back into the Switch version, I might go with Smash Brothers Ultimate just because the character roster is really fantastic, and that the single player mode is pretty good in terms of that. What was it called? Where you're going through that big map.
I had it and then I lost it. I think it's something. It's something like, I'm pretty sure it might be like Story of Light.
Or World of Light or something like that.
I think it is World of Light, yeah.
Yeah, but the most recent version is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, this was, like we said, it's tough because all these games are great, but I did choose Ultimate as well. I was close to choosing the Wii U version just because the Wii U version gave me my favorite Smash character, which is Wii Fit Trainer, and ever since then, it's just like anybody can be a Smash. Smash is just a bunch of crazy characters together, and I think that's what makes it great. And then Ultimate came out, adding more. We got Joker, we got Banjo. It's just a crazy amount of great characters together, and you get some friends together. That's a great time, and I think that's why I chose Ultimate, because my goodness, who knows who's next to be in Smash, because my goodness, there's anybody and everybody could be in it. We got Pac-Man, Wii Fit, Animal Crossing, Isabelle. That's crazy.
Yeah, I really loved it when they added in a lot of the characters from some of the old NES, the older Nintendo franchises, like when they added in the Duck Hunt Dog.
Oh, yes.
And Mr. Game & Watch. Although I think he added in on the Wii version?
I think he was in Brawl. I think Game & Watch was in Brawl. Yeah. But Duck Hunt came in on Wii U.
Yeah, and Rob, too. Rob was a great addition that I think was in Brawl as well. But I like playing with those characters. I don't really have a single favorite character. I alternate quite a bit.
Yeah, I usually do about 3 that I stick with, maybe 4 sometimes. And right now, the main is Wii Fit, and then I go to Isabelle, the Inkling, and Yoshi, of course. Yoshi's always in there.
Yeah, I love that egg roll dashing around the screen, smashing into people. That's a good move.
Yeah, Yoshi can get pretty OP very quick, if you know. But next on the list, a big character in Smash, Samus, Metroid. What's your favorite Metroid game?
So, yeah, for Metroid, for me, it's pretty much hands down Super Metroid on Super NES. That, in my mind, is one of my favorite games of all time. Pretty much just a perfect game all around. I mean, I can't imagine. It's hard to imagine how that game could be improved upon. And it's one of those games that, like a lot of the ones I've talked about, I have a lot of fond memories of. But even if I go back to it now, it's just great to play through. There's a lot of these hidden secrets, like the missile upgrades and things like that, and I pretty much know where all of them are at this point in time, but even in my most recent playthrough, I think I came across one missile upgrade I had never found before, and I've never really sat down like with a guide and intentionally gone through and 100% completed it. But I've found pretty much everything in there. I've maybe been one missile upgrade short, but yeah, Super Metroid is a pretty fantastic game. Although I do have to give a shout out to Metroid Zero Mission, because very recently I played through that with the Game Boy Advance on using my new GBA consolizer. I played through it on the big screen, and that's a pretty top-notch 2D Metroid game as well. I know that there are a lot of fans of the Metroid Prime games, and maybe that's what you're going to pick as your favorite. And we'll get to that in just a second. So why don't you? We can talk about the Metroid Prime games, but what was your favorite? Why don't you go ahead before we get into that?
Well, it's crazy you thought I was going to choose Prime, but in fact, I have never played a Metroid Prime game. That's one of my. A lot of my friends make fun of me for that because I've never played one. But I've only actually played one Metroid game, and it was Super Metroid. But I do enjoy that a lot. I did play that quite a bit as a kid, and when Axiom Verge came out, I jumped in on that because it had a similar style, similar vibe to it, and I really do enjoy that one. And they're making an Axiom Verge 2, so if that sells well, I'm really hoping Nintendo really go back to a 2D Metroid and make another one of those.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Axiom Verge, but I haven't checked it out much. But yeah, so for the Metroid Prime games, I got the first one. Excuse me, I got the first one when I got my GameCube, and I got the GameCube about a year after it came out. That was before I was really keeping up with video games very well. I went through kind of a lull during my college years where I would just kind of I was sticking with the Nintendo 64, but I eventually did pick up the GameCube, and I got Metroid Prime with it, and it just looked amazing. And I never did play through it all the way, and I even got the sequel, Metroid Prime 2. I can't even remember what the subtitle of that one is. Dark something.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, Echoes maybe. And that's another one I played through a bit, but I just never completed it. And even on the Wii, I got Metroid Prime 3 and played through it some, and then it just fell off. So, and then again on the Wii U, they had like a $10 download of the Metroid Prime trilogy, and I was like, oh sweet, I'll get that. I can play it on my Wii U. And I even got the Metroid Prime trilogy on the Wii, but even though I've bought those games so many times, I have never played through any of the Metroid Prime games. I just can't. I have trouble getting into them the same way as I do with Super Metroid, or even Metroid Zero Mission for that matter. But I know that a lot of people are anticipating that Nintendo might do a Metroid Prime Trilogy HD on the Switch, which would be pretty spectacular. And maybe if they do that, that's what it's going to take for me to finally
play through it.
Dive into those.
Yeah, I really hope they do that because, like I said, I've never played them, and I will love to play through the trilogy before the fourth one comes out at least. So that would be. I really hope they do it. I really think they are, but I really hope.
Yeah, well, given that they had to restart development on Metroid Prime 4, it seems like a perfect time, prime time, if you will,
yeah.
to do that remaster, re-release of the trilogy, or at least of the original Metroid Prime. But yeah, I don't know how much work goes into remastering those games in HD. So we'll see if it happens. I feel like it's got to happen at some point, given that they've done that for the Zelda games. You know, they remastered Wind Waker, they remastered Twilight Princess. I'm hoping that they'll do a remaster of some of the 3D Mario games. That's one that we haven't gotten to yet on the list, is the 3D Mario games.
Yeah, I really hope they do that too for 3D Mario. 3D Mario is I saved it for last actually because it's by far my favorite Nintendo franchise is 3D Mario games. Well, I'll save it till we get there, but we'll go ahead and go to the next one, which is Animal Crossing. Also a very, very huge fan base for Animal Crossing of some great games. And do you have a favorite one of the Animal Crossings?
Yeah, so my favorite is definitely New Leaf on the 3DS. I played the original on the GameCube, and I had a lot of fun with that. And I've actually even played the Japanese version of that, which was a Nintendo 64 game. I've been able to play that through my EverDrive for my Nintendo 64. There's a translated version available. You can play Animal Crossing on the Nintendo 64.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It's very similar to the GameCube release. But yeah, if I'm picking a favorite, New Leaf is just spectacular. That might be the single game that I have spent the most time playing in my life. I kept going back to it because I wasn't going to cheat and change the clock on my system to go to the different seasons. Mm-hmm. So every month there was just new stuff to do, new bugs to catch, new fish to catch, new furniture to collect, and man, I played that one so much, and yeah, I just really love New Leaf. But how about yourself?
Yeah, I also have to give it to New Leaf. I've only played 2 Animal Crossings. The one on the Wii, I can't remember. I think it was called City Folk, if I think it. And I remember my sister got that for the Wii, and I was like, "What? Nah, this ain't a game. I'm not gonna get into this." 30 minutes later, I'm into it, and I enjoyed it a lot. But New Leaf just took it to a new level, and I think also being on the 3DS, be able to take it with you, that was something fantastic. But like you said, going back every month, the different seasons and everything. That's also one of the few games I got my wife into. I got her into it, and then she played it maybe a full day, and by the end of the day, for some odd reason, I don't know what I was doing, but I accidentally deleted her save, and it was the maddest she's ever been at me. But I was trying to work so hard to get her back to where she was. But even after that, we still played quite a bit, and we're waiting for New Horizons, so we jumped back into New Leaf to play more of it as we get ready for New Horizons, because I think that's gonna be a real special one as well. You excited for the New Horizons?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's probably my most anticipated game of 2020 is New Horizons, given how much I love New Leaf. Yeah, if they, yeah, I mean, every Animal Crossing game has the change of seasons and the kind of evolution of the game. So if it's anywhere near as good as New Leaf, it's gonna be my obsession for a while. And one thing about Animal Crossing that's kind of nice is you can dip your toe in, like go around and see when the new season rolls around, like catch the new bugs, new fish, and whatnot, and get kind of caught up on that month. And then you can take a break and go check out some other game that has come out recently. So it's more of a casual experience, in that you don't just feel like you have to dedicate yourself completely to that game, but you still get a little bit out of it for such an extended period of time.
That's true, because sometimes, like when we're playing New Leaf, sometimes we only pick it up. We might pick it up daily, and it'll be like 10, 15 minutes a day. We're just checking in on things. But then sometimes it turns to weekly until like in a good event or something happens, then we're back into it for a while. But I am very excited for this New Horizons. I think it's going to be pretty huge on the Switch. Speaking of huge franchises, this is another one of my favorite ones. It's Pokemon. Which do you have a fond or great Pokemon game?
Yeah, so that's a tough call. If I had to choose, which is the whole point of this conversation, I'd actually go with Diamond and Pearl. That's the one on the DS that I probably played the most out of all the Pokemon games in terms of just sinking time into. Just a little bit on my history with the Pokemon franchise. They came out when I was in college, and I played Pokemon Red on an emulator on my laptop that my parents got me when I went to college. And I got pretty far in it. I don't think I actually beat it, but I was into going around and collecting the different Pokemon and leveling them up and things like that. And then I completely missed the second generation of Gold and Silver, as well as the third generation of it was Ruby and Sapphire. Mm-hmm. Although I did get the remaster of Red, Pokemon Fire Red, and I played through that pretty far. But yeah, the first time I ever really got into a Pokemon game and played all the way through to the end was Diamond and Pearl on the DS. And one of the great things about that one, I thought, was that was the first one that introduced the online trades. So like if you wanted a Pokemon that was exclusive to the other version of the game, you could just go to this center in the game and post the Pokemon that you wanted to put up for trade and what you wanted to trade it for, and then come back the next day and find out, oh, somebody has traded with me, and you could receive that Pokemon that you had wanted. So I thought that was a really cool addition.
Yeah, Diamond and Pearl, they were fantastic. Like many games on series on this list, Pokemon is there's some ones that lack, but there's not really a bad one, I would say. But Pokemon is actually the first game I've ever played. It got me into gaming. I remember I played Pokemon Blue on the Game Boy, and that upped up, and my grandparents got me a Super Nintendo. But Pokemon Blue was fantastic. But as a favorite of the Pokemon series, I am going with Silver, Pokemon Silver and Gold. Because my goodness, I remember it's mainly the memories with it. Because I remember I was walking through a cave, got lost, and the next thing I know, I turn around this corner and there's Lugia, the legendary. That blew me away. Like, I knew he was in there, but I didn't know he was close to me and everything. That was just, I remember being a kid, and that was a hype moment. But it was just a bunch of times where we were battling. I would take it to school, battle with kids at the school, and it was special. Silver, it's probably got some favorite Pokemon in like the second series, the second gen. It's got some of my favorite Pokemon. But like you said with Diamond and Pearl, able to trade online, now that was a game changer. That was very special, and I'm glad they kept that all the way through, because my goodness, you could just put a Pokemon up there, wait a couple days, you go back, and you got the Pokemon you was trading for. That was very special as well.
Yeah, so that's a tough call. My favorite Pokemon game is Diamond and Pearl. But if I had to choose, I'd go with Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah, Diamond and Pearl, they were fantastic. Like many games on series on this list, Pokemon is
Gold and Crystal in my collection, and I need to play them. It's, those are some of those games that I've gotten just because I know they're top tier games and I want to play through them at some point, but just never sat down with them. So. And I even had my guy that does all my video game mods, he replaced the battery in both those cartridges, because with the real-time clock that they introduced in that second generation, it tends to wear down the battery in the cartridge faster than even in the first generation. So it's not uncommon to find those where they won't save anymore. So I've got fresh save batteries in mine.
Yeah, I had to do that with my Pokemon Blue. I still got it, but I remember the battery died on it, and me and my dad, we YouTubed it, figured out how to do it. We changed the battery in it, and I'm glad I can still go back and do that. I'm very excited for the analog Game Boy thing to come out next year, because it's dockable.
Analog docket.
Yeah, it's dockable? We can play on the TV?
Yeah, there'll be a dock that they're going to sell separately that'll let you play on the TV using a Bluetooth controller.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that, because that way there's Game Boy games galore out there. There's a bunch of them, and there's a bunch of them that I missed, so I would love to collect some of those and play some of those and get back into replay the old Pokemon games, because those are probably my favorite Game Boy games.
Yeah, with my Game Boy Advance Consolizer, I'm really enjoying getting back into those Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. That's why I played through Metroid Zero Mission recently, and why I'm playing through Minish Cap right now is I'm just taking advantage of that, of being able to play those with the Super Nintendo controller on the big screen. Because I had the Super Game Boy, but that would only play the original Game Boy games, not Color or Advance. And I had the Game Boy Player for the GameCube, which will play all of them, but I never did get a controller that was really good for it, and I just don't like playing Game Boy games with the GameCube controller, so being able to use the Super Nintendo controller for those is pretty great.
Yeah, the GameCube controller is a special controller, but I feel it really does best on original GameCube games and continue to be great for Smash Brothers especially.
Yeah. For the Wii U version, I got that the USB adapter to hook the GameCube controllers in, and I was happy when they made that compatible with the Switch as well. Honestly, when I play on the Switch, I mainly use my Switch Pro controller, but every now and then I'll hook up the GameCube controller and play with that for Smash.
Yeah, I got a few wireless Smash controllers that my wife got me for Christmas. That way, when everybody comes over, we could just smash, and everybody's don't have to use a Joy-Con. That was the pain before. I only had Joy-Cons and one Pro controller, but now we got the GameCube controllers. We're straight with Smash now. We ain't gotta worry about no Joy-Cons, because the Joy-Con it wasn't as great to use when you're playing Smash.
Yeah, especially the single Joy-Con turn sideways.
Yeah. My goodness, it works I let it slide for Mario Kart, but Smash, we can't do it like that.
Yeah.
But the next one on the list, we're getting close to the end here. 2D Zelda game. Again, I don't think there's been a bad Zelda game, but my goodness.
Yeah, the one that always gets the most hate is obviously Zelda 2. Which I feel is kind of a misunderstood game. You sort of have to appreciate the RPG elements and then figure out that you have to grind a little bit in order to make that game more manageable. But I would say that my favorite 2D Zelda is Link to the Past on Super Nintendo. That's just like Super Metroid, it's just about a perfect game in every way, and it's just like I was saying for Super Metroid, it's one that I played through back in the day, and I just have a lot of fond memories of it, and I can still go back to now, and it's just as much fun now as it was back then. And I remember being so puzzled by some of the things in that. Like, I had looked at probably an issue of Nintendo Power Magazine or something like that, and seen that there was a hook shot that you could get, and there's this cactus cactus in the desert that kind of meets up with one of the walls, and where it meets the wall, it looks like there's something that looks almost like the hook shot behind it. And I was convinced as a kid that I had to do something to that cactus to get to the hook shot. And I spent so much time just trying to bomb that cactus or cut it or figure out what I needed to do to get the hook shot from behind this cactus. And it turns out it was in a completely different location. But yeah, even like knowing the game in and out now, it's a lot of fun to play. And I have a lot of fondness for the original Zelda on NES, but the Super Nintendo version, Link to the Past, just took those roots of the original and just polished it, and in my mind, perfected it. But yeah, that's hands down, Link to the Past is my favorite 2D Zelda game. How about you?
Yeah, like we were saying with Zelda 2, they took it in a different direction that time, and they came out with Link to the Past and made it more like the original, but really, like you said, perfected it. And that's why I also choose a Link to the Past, because my goodness. As you see in the trend, music is a big thing that I love in video games. And the Link to the Past soundtrack, just any song, it's great. It's got just the style, the graphics of it as well is fantastic. And very fond memories of, I was one of the few games my dad played. He's not a big gamer or anything, but he did play that quite a bit, and I remember watching him, because as a kid I would get to the same spot every time in Link to the Past and get stuck. I didn't beat Link to the Past until maybe, I think it was when I got it on the Wii or the 3DS, whenever it came to one of those two, and I downloaded it, and that's when I finally beat it. But even knowing it when it came out in one of those two, I knew like this was a game I liked, and it is a special game. I do have I don't know if I think it's a sequel, The Link Between Worlds, but I have not played that one quite yet on the 3DS. Have you tried it out?
Yeah, that's I almost completed that. I think I made it, I want to say like 80% of the way through that one. It's on my list to go back and finish at some point. But yeah, that took the basic design of Link to the Past and added some additional elements, and I enjoyed that when I played through most of it, so I would like to finish that at some point.
Yeah, Link to the Past is a special game. When the SNES Mini came out, it was the second game I played. The first game I played is probably one of my favorite Super Nintendo games, and I don't think most people like it, but it's Kirby's Dream Course. I sat down, I made my wife play that. She did not enjoy it, but man, I do love Kirby's Dream Course. But Link to the Past was the second one I played, and had to play that because my goodness, it is the one Zelda game I think to play, especially for 2D.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a very special game.
But to go to the next one and the last one, I saved it for last. My favorite out of all Nintendo games is the 3D Mario games. They're always very special. Which one's your favorite?
So for that one, I'm gonna have to go with Super Mario Galaxy, the first one. And yeah, that, well, like we said, for so many of these franchises, it's a tough call because there's so many great games. But yeah, with Mario Galaxy, and I remember when that came out on the Wii, it was the first. I mean, it was so rare that we would get 3D Mario games. I was so excited, and so I got it, and I just couldn't put it down. I was just hooked. And like I said, for games like Breath of the Wild, Super Metroid, and Link to the Past, Mario Galaxy is one of those that I played through all the way, and I enjoyed it so much that I did the kind of post-game playthrough with Luigi, and then I went back in and created a new save file and started playing through again. It was so enjoyable to just run around and explore and collect the stars. Even the purple coin challenges, just going around finding every one of the 100 purple coins in a level. I just enjoyed everything about that game. games in the 3D Mario games, of course. Odyssey was great. The original Super Mario 64, the sequel Galaxy 2, they were great. But the original Mario Galaxy will always stand out in my mind as one of the most fun times I ever had playing video games, especially 3D Mario.
Yeah, like you said, all the 3D Mario games, Odyssey, Galaxy 1 and 2 are fantastic. One I haven't played is Sunshine. I haven't played Sunshine, but I do like the way it looks, and I like the theme that it has going for it. But my favorite has to be Mario Galaxy 2. But like you said, you can choose any of these because 3D Mario games, you can put any of them on, and if I start playing it, of course, it will put a smile on my face. They're such great games. But Galaxy 2, I think it just took what the first one had and then added Yoshi, and then that made it a 10 out of 10 for me. But
I remember you said you were a big fan of Yoshi from Super Mario World, so I figured that if that was a factor for you, that you probably would especially love Galaxy 2.
Yeah, because to me they are pretty much one and the same. They're really almost the same game, but the second one just added Yoshi, and that would, because if we didn't have the second one, Mario Galaxy 1 would be my favorite, but since Galaxy 2 added that, Yoshi could actually transform to a balloon and do all this other stuff, it was special. But both of them are indeed fantastic games. Another couple games I would like to see come to Switch in like an HD collection or something.
A Galaxy HD collection would be pretty spectacular. I'd probably play through both those games again. Yeah, Galaxy 2, I played all the way through and beat it and got all the main stars. But when it came to those green stars, to get to like 100% completion, I never got into those green star quests on Galaxy 2 for whatever reason. I didn't find them as enjoyable as the things like the purple coin challenges in the first Galaxy. One of my favorite challenging 3D Mario levels was in Super Mario Galaxy, where you're running around on the giant 2D Mario, like the pixelated Mario from the original Super Mario Brothers, and you gotta get all 100 purple coins. That was so tough, but it was so rewarding when you finally did it. That's one of those specific times from that game that just stands out in my memory as just being extremely enjoyable.
Yeah, that's the one thing I think 3D Mario, especially those games, the 3D ones, does really well is collectibles. Like in Odyssey with the moons. Oh my goodness! For some reason, I wanted to get them all in every 3D Mario game. I just want to try to collect everything. And Mario games does that well. Whereas like I love Donkey Kong games, but sometimes Donkey Kong, collecting Kong in every level, I give up on that too easy, too quick in the game. But Mario does something special with it where I'm down. I'm collecting them.
I played quite a bit of Super Mario Odyssey. I got something like 700 moons, over 700 moons. I would like to go through and at least finish the Dark Side of the Moon level. There's this one, I think it's like the final course you get to, that I got part of the way through, and I just put it down and never went back to it. I need to go back to that game at some point. Yeah,
the Dark Side, that's very challenging. It's pretty challenging, but like you said, the reward, it's worth it. It's good. But after going over our list, one last question: out of all the franchises of Nintendo's, what's your favorite franchise? That's a big question, but
yeah, that's like the question of questions. That's a tough one. If I had to pick just off the top of my head, I'd probably say Zelda. It's really close between Zelda and Mario, just because there have been so many games from both of those franchises that I can just go back to and play anytime. But Zelda is the one that I feel is a bit more engaging, because with Mario it's kind of a level by level thing, whereas with Zelda, it's all about the quest, and so it's I feel like it's easier to get drawn in because you've got this, these overarching goals, and you've got the upgrades to your abilities in Zelda, whereas with Mario, there are power ups that you get every now and then, kind of sporadically, that will wear off when you get hit. But with Zelda, you're building up your character, developing your abilities. So I just feel like it's a bit more engaging in that way compared to the Mario franchise.
Yeah, mine is down to Mario is Mario is my winner, but it'd be between Mario and Pokemon. Pokemon again is kind of like, it's just all the Pokemon, the monsters that you collect. There's so many. If I get into it, I'm gonna catch them all. I have to. And then Mario is just, no matter how good of a day, bad of a day I'm having, if I go, I'll put a Mario in and I'll play it, it's gonna put a smile on my face. It really just brings some joy to me for some reason. It just makes me feel. It's a good Mario. Just does it. I don't know. But
there's some great games.
Yes, sir. Well, that's the end of the episode. I appreciate you coming on and joining me for this podcast.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks again for having me on.
Thank you, and that's the end. Until next time. Peace.